For the past several years, I have volunteered in Sarah Adams' French classes. In those classes, I've seen rigorous instruction of relevant content based on a coherent philosophy of education. Because good ideas are worth sharing, I've tried to capture her approach in this video. Je vous présente Madame Sarah Adams.
I think the biggest thing now is that we live in the information age. We can't lose sight of the world that our students are going to live in. Information is doubling. Instead of centuries or decades, instead of hours, it's now by minutes. The information doubles. So that changes everything because now knowing becomes less and less. And knowing how to find answers becomes more and more. And how we think becomes more and more. They're all going to have their entire careers in the unknown. Foreign language is truly putting you in a insecure, I don't know what to say situation, which is what their lives will be. So this really strikes at the heart of what our students need to know. And this understanding really should drive a lot of things. If we didn't write down "nous parlons" yesterday, and you're fixing that, what are you learning? So this is not about French, it's about learning what?
Patterns.
The patterns, thank you. And will your careers need new vocabulary?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you didn't know something from yesterday, you're wanting to figure out what it is and why and how you're going to learn it. Our students need to understand that it's the approach. It's the asking. It's knowing how to ask, what to ask, persistence in asking that will really drive their careers and make them leaders. I love questions. Agency up. You're fantastic. Excellent question. That will help you going forward. You'd be very frustrated over that. Any other questions before we go to the new one? 9th grade final exam in French. I flunked it. Okay?
That works.
Why did I flunk it? Because what was I not doing? I wasn't asking questions. Your career be confusing? But you have to what? Yes, because careers are confusing. So it's all right not knowing, right? Not knowing is okay?
Yeah, I say 40.
But not asking and not understanding, that's not okay. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes, what's pop the money on?
Ah! What are you asking for?
Pop the money on.
The pub. Then you have to what? Ask. Just recently, just to get them at a low-level question, French 2 had new vocabulary, and I had not handed them the vocabulary list. Do you have a question? No. You sure you don't have a question? So, pursuing that so that they ask, because in their careers, there will be information available that no one's going to offer them. So they've got to learn at the very least to be asking for information that's available. And then way beyond that is, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to be processing what's going to happen? Okay, but you asked and you discovered your own answer.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for. Everything is setting the student up for success. I'm responsible to where they are 20 years from now. So what's on Madame? On me is what? Making sure you do what? Your future's on me. Okay, your future's on me, so using your resources to know something is what your careers will be like. That's my French is more than French, where if you forget the content completely, you still have the brain functionality, the soft skills, how to stand professionally, how to present, how to look at the class, how to figure out how to do a conversation where it's new vocabulary, how to collaborate, how to encourage, when to pull back, when to ask. It is so many things that should be a uniform piece that is accentuated in every classroom. And that leads into grit, perseverance, facing challenges, what to do about an obstacle, and all of that. So that piece can be in any content area and should be purposefully talked about in the language of the teacher. Okay, so just pause a minute to think it through. Okay? Our pause is still professional? Wait, so you're not rolling your eyes, you're not crying, you're not running out of the classroom? No. Okay. Your feet are planted on the floor very nicely. Your hands are not in your pockets. Bravo, c'est fantastique. How do you say we write? Don't lean against the whiteboard, you're the pro. So many things that we do in class are things that can be duplicated in a career situation in any field. You can be engineering a bridge, but it has to be a conversation because it's in the talking that brings out things you don't know you know, and ideas that are latent back in there, something that come forward or that work with other people that brings it out. You're not stopping, and how are you at?
Oui.
So what you want to do is how you're getting ready for your career. When you're the big man, you're talking to your investors, you're going to be a little thrown off, but you're going to maintain that professionality. So that's very good. How I set up the room is a resource tool. So for example, if I walk into a math classroom, I don't see formulas everywhere. Why? Is that cheating? Really what we want is when they need a little piece of information, it's there. There it is, I know where it is, and I can grab it. Same thing in careers. I know where to get my passwords. I know who's going to be the go-to on servicing a customer this way. So when I ask, where do you have your that conjugation on your desk, and you don't know, I'm worried for you. Because in your career, they're going to give you all these things, and you have to figure it out and work with it. So we want them to learn the content by piece instead of having tools and resources that they can find that will be pieces that will help them do the broader piece of thinking. Why aren't you writing out your sentences and reading them?
Because then we won't think in French.
And you won't think. So I use all the pieces of the parts of the tools of the classroom to build understanding for something else. That is my first year teaching here, teaching French. I don't know how to say something. Well, you do. If A is ah and R is a breath, then what's AR with the silent T? Art is ah. So we just apply the pattern to be able to say a lot of words. My cognate list, I think now is 1,200 words that you can use automatically that you know what they mean. How fantastic is that? Just apply the patterns to pronounce it, and you've got 1,200 words you can use. Vers. A.
I.
On. Envers, A, I, on. Conversation. Ah, fantastic! Every subject can be set up like that. It doesn't matter if it's arts with colors and textures. It doesn't matter what it is. Every room should have tools to use in the room. And Dan Coyle's gone around the world to see what makes people the best. It's always something very small, and you persevere forever a mile deep until it's perfect. So that's why one word, bon, you've heard me say do the on, and then the ou. Bonjour, not bonjour or anything else. So getting that one word and persevering, sustaining that effort, not quitting, being willing to say it 20 to 100 times until it's right, that one word is what will spill over into learning anything and everything.
Préparation.
Préparation. Bravo. And sticking to it until it's really right and it's really comfortable and it becomes automatic. Automaticity is something that we're building. That's what will make everything else work. Quelles sont les questions?
Qu'est-ce que vous avez... What is that? Oh, acheté.
Acheter. La facilité. Qu'est-ce que vous avez acheté? Qu'est-ce que vous avez acheté? La facilité. Qu'est-ce que vous avez acheté?
Qu'est-ce que vous avez acheté?
Oh, did you hear how natural that sounded? That sounded French. If you go deep on one thing, your test scores go up on everything. So if we're teaching math or English, we think we have to teach every little piece and skim along at the top. One thing that changes how I teach is I pick what I'm not going to teach. That's essential to going deep. If a student can go deep, really, really deep in every subject, all of the scores will go up. All of them. Okay, so this is a level of thinking that will help you with all of your test scores? All of your subjects? Okay. The content needs to be not an end, but a vehicle. It's a vehicle to the future through the understanding of how we learn, who we are, and how great I am. All right. Yeah. So 14 verbs are conjugated with et, and thousands of verbs are conjugated with avoir. Is it hard to make that switch?
Yes.
It is. So your brain is really working hard. I'm telling you. It changes how you manage the class today because you get bogged down in content. Yes, I do subjects and verbs. Yes, I do prepositions and adjectives, but it's always the vehicle. It's not the end. That's one reason that project-based learning is really the only way to learn now. So if we really do project-based learning now, so that is grit, perseverance, approach to learning. It's embedding content with approach. So if you properly do project-based learning, the driving question results in every student coming up with a different outcome. And that's a sign of a good project. We can recognize next level when there's no clear-cut way to do something, right? You know you're going to a higher level of what you're asked to do when there's no real rules. All right, so every conversation will be different. When I started at Buchtel, the principal asked us to come up with a personal statement. My personal mission is urgency and intensity in the classroom. If it's not urgent or intense, it's everything else happens. Everything's falling back, the body language, or the heads go down. So urgency and intensity, that's the starting, creating momentum. That's having, where are we going with this? So sitting there doing nothing is telling me you either don't know what to do or you're not going to try today. Okay, don't give mind on these messages. Look what happened. I saw you doing nothing, so I asked you, but what's better? You asking madame. Okay, you know what you're doing now? Copier, compléter, bravo. But that urgency and intensity is an important piece to having it matter to them and to have them respond to that. I am leading you to success and cooperating. We've got 2 0 agencies here. Cooperating is what helps with learning. Everyone with their head up in here is learning, correct? That's correct. Okay, so here's what happens next week. You've got one exam. There's 20% that slams all the work that you've done here. So why does Madame get all worked up about test taking? So that kind of thing is losing time to gain time where the student is taking ownership of learning and of their own future. The losing time to gain time is really serious business, especially in September. So for example, when we start the class and a student starts the class, I lose time by a student starting the class. But all those pieces of respect, getting your chin up, knowing how to say to the class, hello class, bonjour class, that piece of the student being the leader, leaders are learners, I already know how to start the class and I know what we're going to do today. So a student starting it, I'm going to lose a lot of time, especially in the fall. A lot of time is lost in getting these processes going. But then once you've got that piece and a student has done it and you watch that progression from Monday to Friday, oh my goodness, what a difference by the end of the week. Getting out a piece of paper, getting out a pencil, losing points in agency. I'll make a big deal of that in the fall on those routines that I want to not take up time. I'm going to have it take a lot of time. So I'll give them a notice, you're going to get a piece of paper, I want you to get it out immediately, and a pencil, and that will affect your agency grade, your daily 10-point grade that you're going to get. And then as soon as someone, agency up, points are up, what happened here? And you know my way of over dramatizing it, but every little piece has to be emphasized. So I'm going to lose time on getting the folder, I'm going to lose time on what we put in the folder, so I'm going to lose time on a lot of routines and procedures that if I'm consistent, and one thing I work on is being relentlessly consistent. Even when it's inconvenient, I'm going to lose time to make the point, because if you lose time every time, you're going to gain time. So when students say, is it graded? Right away, it will affect your grade next week, or it'll affect your grade this Friday on PAL. So everything, that urgency and intensity, it's not just how we're starting and getting through everything, but we're getting to the next thing. Okay, so we're practicing for that great presentation, that 100-point presentation in January, right? One thing I work hard at is setting deadlines that won't move. So one thing I've switched to doing is not having final dates until I know they're final. So for example, French 2, we're doing a 6-section project that we straddle 2 months. I have the date of the first section. Once that's solid, it's not moving. OMPAL, once I have the OMPAL, the oral assessment that's every other Friday, when I have those dates, those don't move. So when you come in and you say you're not ready, I've been talking about it, referring to it, it's coming, get your strategy ready, practice, strategy and practice, and you'll do beautifully. What will be a problem is if you haven't done it for homework and you haven't planned. So if you're planning what you're going to say, you're really ready. Who has a strategy to share or a fantastic sentence to share? Okay, so how are we going to get ready? You've got to have your liste de verbes. Fais sortir le vocabulaire. Once the students know what is expected of them, get your folder, get in your seat, get out a paper, get out a pencil, read the agenda and know what's coming. Then that relieves that sense that they're going to be anxious, they don't know what's happening, what shall I do, the teacher's going to be mad at me. So that does feed into a student feeling less anxious and more empowered. Very important. Building sentences. Once this is done, you're going straight to your project. Last day to have class time for your project. You're handing it in today, I hope. Everyone's pen down. Thank you, pens down. And then so we'll quickly repeat all this, and take our pens right back up, okay? Risk-taking and promoting that in the classroom where it's a safe place and you're not gonna get a ding on that, it's very important for them to understand. Jeju. Oh, Jay! Who remembers that? Oh, I have. Jay, here's Jay. And that's on the DAP. Thank you for that mistake, because we need to remember I have back on the DAP. So instead of Jay, you're going to say? It's a French.
We, Jay, Ju.
Jay. Don't switch it, I have.
Je joue sur l'ordinateur.
So they understand they're in a safe place, they're going to take a risk. Agency up, fantastic. You're wrong, but let's not worry about that now. So you took the risk, and that's what we want, because that's where the mind starts flowing, if you're willing to take a risk and be wrong. Write it on the board and be wrong. Everyone's going to make the same mistakes. Let's just figure it out together and learn together. You acted like you could do anything in this world. Look at Mama. Okay, you stood there, and when you made a mistake, did it matter? No, you had support. Mama! When I pull back the pace, or I accelerate it, when I put on the pressure, when I ease off, that is all reading the students on how much they can take, because I can't take them beyond their ability to respond. A lot of times, if I make the rigor too high or the intensity too much and they feel they can't take it anymore, down it goes. So that's on me to keep that intensity and urgency to the point where they are excited about it and they know where they're going and they're going to get there. As soon as they're in their frustration level, they're not going to be learning. It will not accelerate. There will not be urgency. Heads are down. Don't worry. Don't worry so much, okay? Do not worry. First rule of the class is respect. Really, other than respect, we don't need any other rules. If we're going to respect ourselves, we're going to respect others, property, and respect education, we don't need any other rules. Everything else comes from that. Once they understand that, and the ones who get it, to see them get it is so magnificent. One thing they quickly learn about me is I'm not kidding. So when they do something disrespectful, I'm all over that. No, it's a distraction. Please, let's not make furniture a distraction to learning. And always encouraging and always thanking them and always telling them how beautifully they did something. That time spent praising is not wasted. So nous avons Look what you did. That's fantastique. Vraiment. Nous avons décoré
avec les cadeaux.
Oh, c'est fantastique. See what you did?
Nous,
I say finish.
nous finissons.
Oh! Who's amazing? And they usually have to stop and think. It's interesting to me that most of the time, sometimes they'll say Madame. Who else is amazing? But I can't recall any student who couldn't get to me. I'm amazing. Who's amazing? Who's amazing?
Me.
Wait, okay, know it, believe it, do it, so fantastic. And one thing I really learned is to make sure they know, they can see I'm happy to see them. So at the very beginning when I was starting and someone came in late and I've got the mother face, you're late. That does not work. That doesn't help anybody. You made it to class. Oh, look who's here. Get in your seat. And then when they ask a question, what's already been answered, I'm sorry you missed that. There's a way to catch you up on that, but not while I don't want the class to hear something again. So they'll feel those consequences. They know what they miss. It's really the students. It's all about the students, that the demands we place on them and how much we love them coinciding with the demands is so important. Oh, I love it when those zeros go in. Who's looking after you? Oh, Madame. I just asked a student at Buchtel a question about where she was going with her future. Do you want to make a lot of money? A month ago, I asked it differently. Well, do you always want to make minimum wage? And she said, well, maybe. And I really gave it to her. You are such a fine person. You are so capable. You can do very well. You can be managing a team. You can be getting promotions. You can do very well, but you need to want it. You need to want to be the best because really you are the best. Just be it. And so it was interesting recently when I asked a question similarly to that. She started to look down and she perked up, yes. And I loved getting that yes. I do want to do well. Yes, I want to be somebody. Yes, I want to get those promotions. And that was a switch for that student. I want to really drive each class every day for every student forward that's meaningful for them well beyond when they've ever seen me.